Hi, I'm John and welcome to the Jigsaw Puzzler. Today's puzzle is this very special, quite small 504-piece puzzle. It's from the Ken Duncan Images of Australia series, produced by Crown and Andrews, and this is from 2019. Ken Duncan is a fairly well-known Australian photographer. His images, particularly his panoramic images of cityscapes and natural places around Australia, very, very popular. Quite some years ago, I hardly knew any house of my friends where there was not a Ken Duncan panoramic print of some sort in their house. We had one at home ourselves as I was growing up, and the families of many of my friends had them as well. They are simply stunning photographs. They were affordable and beautiful. So some of those images have been turned into jigsaw puzzles, and this image depicts King George Falls in the Kimberley in far northwestern Western Australia, and the image is absolutely stunning. Sunrise, I believe, over King George Falls. It depicts the sky in a very narrow band, beautiful shades of pink and purple. We have the top of the plateau, and then these dramatic cliffs, these beautiful red, orange, brown cliffs with some vegetation on them, and the water below reflecting some of the light. Absolutely striking image, really glorious photo, and a nice puzzle, a nice image for a puzzle. Now, landscape photos are not my particular forte or interest in jigsaw puzzles, but I thought on this channel I really need to do one of the landscape puzzle and present it, and I'm really pleased that I've done this one. I was in a secondhand store a few months ago, and I was in the process of purchasing a secondhand jigsaw puzzle, the Sainte-Chapelle interior, which I've done previously on this channel, and I got chatting to both the owner and another customer, and the customer said to me, well, I've got a puzzle at home, would you like it? And I said, all right. And she came to me about a week later and presented me with this, still in its wrapper, completely unopened and in absolutely pristine brand new condition. So it had never been opened. I knew that it should be complete, and I got it for free. So I'm very grateful to that woman for giving it to me on the spot. It's a really beautiful image. But I've put it aside because landscapes are not really the sort of puzzle that I do. But I thought, well, it's about time I got it out and really honoured the gift that it was to do this puzzle and time it on the time lapse. One of the things that bother me about landscapes is the difficulty sometimes of putting the pieces together. And sometimes I know you can slog away, just chipping away at a whole series of pieces that just all look the same, have the same texture on them, the same colours, and difficult to know which way up they go. I was a bit apprehensive like that with this puzzle. But I found in doing it, it was a lot easier than I anticipated. Considerably easier. So if we have a close look at the image and how I divided it up into sections to do. Firstly, if we look at the image with the sky and the land and the water, okay, three distinct elements and broken up by the two waterfalls and the texture of this flowing water down here. All right, so there's a distinct line across the top here between the sky and the landscape. There is a distinct line here around the edge of the water and the land. Of course, the waterfalls themselves are readily identifiable. Then we have a large patch of green here, a much smaller one here, but a darker, different style of leaves, I think, and then the narrow band basically across the top. So when I tipped the pieces out into my sorting trays, I pulled the edge pieces out as I normally do, and I really started to sort them into, pull out particular sections. I pulled out all of the sky pieces, and there's such a distinctive shades of purple and pink that are very readily identifiable. So I made one pile of those. I made a pile of the edge between the sky and the landscape because I knew that it wouldn't be too hard to make that line across the entire puzzle. I pulled out all the water pieces, the still water pieces, and then I pulled out all the moving water pieces, the waterfalls, and this area here where the water is gushing at the base of the falls. And I left all of the rock face, the cliff and the trees in the puzzle trays. I started with the edge and put that together. That was not as difficult as I thought it was going to be. The gradients of colour here across the sky are quite easy to match, and I sat there in some surprise to myself, just picking up the next piece and putting it in. I don't normally puzzle as well as that, but this one really came together. So I put the edge in. I made the edge of the top of the plateau and the sky, and then I filled in the rest of the sky. Very rare for me to do the sky first. I think I've done it a couple of times on puzzles on this channel, but that's the sort of thing I usually leave to the end because it's just so difficult. All right, so I put the sky together, and then I thought, well, I need to tackle the water. I did the waterfalls and this patch down here, but this section of water here does grade in colour with a slight reflection of the land, and there's a lighter patch here and a lighter patch here. I just actually started picking up the light pieces and piecing those together to see if I could make this core here, and it grew in no time at all. And before I knew it, I had this patch, and then was able to join them together really, really easily and put them in. Put this section of water in and the two waterfalls, and lo and behold, I had just about all the puzzle done in almost no time at all. I was sitting at a point where I thought I could actually speed puzzle this, and which surprises me because I don't think that I would be able to speed puzzle a landscape. But this came together so quickly. After that, it was a bit more of a slog putting the cliff faces together because of the variations in the rocks, the patterns not consistent, and it's just so every piece seems to be unique. But there are patches here where the rocks are a little bit greyish in tone. These ones here have very fine details on them, whereas these are quite chunky. This is a lot redder here. This is very red here. This is much more reddy brown down the bottom. And the cliffs did take a bit of putting together, but they came together all right. And I was left with these two, well, particularly this tree section here at the end. That came down to a little bit of shape sorting, very small amount of shape sorting so that I could put those together. And honestly, this did not take me even half as long as I expected it to. It was a fun puzzle, really pleasurable puzzle to do. And of course, having such a gorgeous image makes it that much more appealing. I do like a pretty image for a jigsaw puzzle. I don't think there's anything worse than an image that does not take your fancy in some way. And I know that's a personal taste thing, but I'm sure, you know, most people are drawn to particular kinds of puzzle images, and it does help if the image is one that attracts you, that appeals to you in some way. But this is an outstanding landscape photo and a really pleasurable puzzle to do. Oh, the other thing we haven't looked at is the quality of the puzzle. Whoops, my bad. All right, this is a pretty good quality puzzle. I can pick it up completely and it holds together. Some of the pieces felt like they didn't quite fit. The cut's quite tight, but on the whole, it wasn't. There was nothing. There was no loose fit. There were no false fits. There were no. It wasn't coming apart. The pieces weren't delaminating. They're quite thick pieces compared to some. I think they're a little on the thick side, which is good. Very glossy surface though. I would say that with the lights, I did have to move things closer because if I had pieces out at a distance or the puzzle tray out at a distance, the light made things very indistinct. Doesn't quite sit flat, but you know, pretty good puzzle, pretty good quality. Not really anything to complain about, and an absolutely stunning image. So let's click like and subscribe if you want to share my channel with your puzzling friends, that would be great too. Leave a comment below and let's have the time lapse. And thank you for watching.